Hey everybody, this is Shalisa. I am the creator of the MVP Circle experience and author of When You're Ready to Move. So if this is your first time catching me live, I've been sharing about the MVP Circle experience, which is a structured year-long access leadership and transition community that's built around my guide, When You're Ready to Move. And thank you guys so much for supporting this effort so far. It has truly been heartwarming to see so many of you take a chance and believe and trust the vision. This program really includes first a one-on-one kickoff call so that we can kind of figure out where you are, what you're looking to work on, because it is intentional. This is structured. There are exclusive video lessons that accompany the book, as well as 2 live sessions each month where we come to work. We come to build community, but we're also very much focused on your next and what you want to accomplish with this time. It's for intentional reflection work that's designed to help you move forward with clarity and not panic. So in the first 2 days of this series, we talked about, is this for you? It's for folks that are in transition, whether it's career transition, life, identity, whatever it might be. If you are in trying to figure it out mode, this is for you. And then we also talked about, can you trust me to walk alongside you? And essentially, I have over 20 years of experience in learning and leadership development. I've worked in corporate spaces for the majority of my career. I've led organizations, had the opportunity to lead people, and I also work a lot in the community as well, all to uplift people and organizations to be better. So that's me. So today I want to talk about why now is the right time. Why is now the right time? So I think this is actually the perfect time if you're in the early days of transition. This is important because I think most of us if you've ever been in corporate or pretty much any kind of structured work environment, we have kind of been conditioned to think about things as employees. And most of us have been subject to different performance management practices where you have goals and reviews and all of those things. And I'm all in for goals. I'm all in for having a plan and understanding the direction of where you are going for the year. But most of us were trained in corporate performance management where we were evaluated on those goals and metrics and tasks, and we had either annual reviews or something like that. But I want you to understand that the marketplace doesn't really care about your task list. It instead responds to outcomes. And so that means we have to really shift our thinking. We have to move from just thinking about things as an employee, particularly wherever we were, but also starting to think about ourselves as business leaders. What is the language that resonates and connects to help people see you and your value as you would happen to? So in the MVP Circle, we help you rediscover your business value, not just what you did, but the strategic impact you created. And I think that that's a very important distinction. This helps us transition from your typical basics, very specific language that might be in your resume about a specific project you completed or whatever, but really starting to think more about what problems did you solve? What risk did you reduce? What revenue did you protect or generate? And what capability did you build in others? That's more along the lines of thinking as a business leader. This is for you to really be able to connect and get your message across. And so it's not about like, hey, I'm not just going to start my own business, or hey, I'm going to, whatever it might be. It's really about shifting your thinking to figure out what kind of language benefits and speaks well of the impact that I have made in my previous work. How can I communicate or articulate that clearly to talk about impact and outcomes and not just individual tasks? When you stop speaking in the corporate lingo and start communicating in outcomes, that's when you truly regain your power. And that's truly a mindset shift. And so we're going to go through that. We're going to talk through that in the MVP Circle. It is community, but it's not just getting together and talking about feelings. We're going to really go deep and talk about you. you and what your future self, what's the value that you want to be able to communicate to others? What are the steps that you need to do to really get good at identifying those things and speaking to them in a way that speaks well of you, and lots of other things as well. But I wanted to go deep, particularly in this one area here. If you are in the early days of loss, I want you to think about that this is actually sacred ground. It's sacred ground because this is the moment to settle yourself. And I've had conversations with folks and, had the opportunity to be able to be a soft place for them to share, and the first thing that I want people to know is in that space of release, this is the time to have some quiet space, to understand what kind of room do you need, to not feel like you need to rush immediately into something else and start scrambling around, or you're thinking way down the line and how am I going to make it, all those things. The first thing that you really need to do, and the biggest gift you can give to yourself, is peace and rest and quiet. Now, that's if you are at the top of the corporate ladder, or you're entry coming in and figuring it out, or you're somewhere in between. This is if you've recently experienced personal loss. Whatever transition you're going through, the first thing you really need is peace. You need rest, so that your brain has an opportunity to catch up, to rejuvenate, and to start being able to think objectively about what your next steps need to be. I really want to emphasize my desire to get people to break the cycle of, I got to hurry up and do. And I said this last week several times in several conversations, but you don't have to rush. Resist that urge. And whenever you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I got to hurry up because this opportunity is here and this opportunity is here, I'll share something that I share often on my socials, is that what's for you will never miss you. And so if you have the opportunity to rest, you should take it. Rebuilding from panic leads to more panic, quite honestly. But rebuilding from clarity leads to alignment. And that's what we're going after in this next season. So if you've just been laid off again, this is a moment to stabilize your identity before you rewrite your resume. So before you go into, okay, I got to get all the things captured. Yes, you do, but you don't have to do that today. You don't have to do it tomorrow. Let's figure out the schedule for you, and let's figure out what's the identity that you need to be conveying in your resume in a way that sets you up for success. If you're ready to break free from corporate or wherever you might be working at and build something of your own, this is the time to truly define the business value you actually want to create. And this is something I've had to do over the last several months as I stepped into entrepreneurship, and really being able to articulate my value and figure out how to tell that story in a compelling way to people very quickly, so that they understood what I had to offer. And then if you are reinventing yourself, if you're having a life reinvention, you're doing something different. Perhaps you've retired. Perhaps you're moving from being a longtime caregiver, and now you're in this space where you have capacity to do more or different. Now is the time to really think like a business leader about your own life. And I think that's a big piece, because sometimes we don't see ourselves and the value of thinking about ourselves that way. But you owe it to yourself to think about yourself as a business leader, the business of you. So I want you to really think about that. I'm going to tell you that the MVP Circle is going to do everything I can to move us forward in that. But I want you to see this transition as strategy, not as trauma. And I'm going to talk about this in the session. One of our sessions will talk about moving from wounds to scars and the importance of that, so that we can release that trauma and really move forward in power. We're going to talk about so many things, but I want you to think about really that transition does not have to be reactive. It can be strategic, and strategy truly requires space. It requires space. You can't rush into it. You can't just tie it all, try to get, you really need space, and space in your mind to think, space in your body to be able to receive it, all of that. So I want to close just saying that MVP Circle experience isn't about hype. It's about helping you move deliberately. It's about helping you rediscover your value, translate your impact and approach your next season, oh my goodness, as a business leader, not just as a displaced employee, not just as a person that's just wildly going into entrepreneurship, not as a person that's just redefining their identity to whatever shows up first. This is really intentional work. So the MVP Circle is available to you. You can actually find that on the mvpcircle.com. That'll come up for you. Let's see here. We're doing so good. There you go. So you'll find that there, and join us. We start our first session for the MVP Circle on Wednesday, February 18th. But we will have, a number of different things that are happening over the next several weeks. So I encourage you to get in here, make it happen. And I look forward to seeing you there. Be well. You are not behind. You are becoming.